Board of the European Union published last year and updated in October last year is actually a very good guide published by the government. This is actually a good guide. It's worth having that as a reference guide in your office, just to keep you up to date what's going on. And again, obviously register for any updates from the government websites as well, be useful. And there's another one called the step-by-step guide as well. So that's more about the preparations before January 2021. But again, might be worth having a quick look at that as well.
Just on that point, they did issue one just before Christmas, which was a 2025 border document. With all these, I always call them aspiration models, because even on this one that you're referring to, a lot of it is actually probably not been put in place, and now they're already issued a 2025 one. So that was a lot of our pressures in the first sort of in January, was trying to navigate our way around that border model, really.
Yeah, and the guide tries to outline the process, the aspirational process, I guess, as you're just saying there.
Yeah.
Importance of customs intermediaries being involved, where you're doing any kind of volume, accurate customs entries, staged approach to the implementation of the border model. It talks about what stages we're going through at the moment, and special easements that are currently being used. It talks about GMVS and Smart Freight, which are two systems that help manage the freight through the ports on a more and around the country on a more digital basis, if you like. So it's worth having a look at those and keeping up to date with the latest version. And I will need to download the latest one. So, Trevor, back to you.
Yes, I think to consider, as we said, have a valid EORI number, ensure your contracts, international terms, conditions, so INCO terms. So again, a lot of the work that we done last year talking to our major clients was, think about the commercial terms. People just think about, what's my sales, what's my selling price, who's paying the freight. But actually, when you start talking about INCO terms, there's lots more attached to that, and we'll cover that in later slides. Who's going to submit the export declarations? Are you going to try and do it yourself? Which means then you have to get all the authorizations from HMRC. It gets a bit complicated, or would you use an intermediary? Communicate with your freight forwarder to help you, and also, as I said, manage the client-supplier relationships. I always use this analogy. On the 31st of December, we could pick up a pallet in Essex and we could ship it to Madrid the same way as we pick it up in Essex and ship it to Manchester. Them days are gone now. We didn't need any paperwork. We didn't need anything whatsoever. Completely changed. So I think you need to now think about that client-supplier relationship.
Okay, the EORI Economic Registration Identification Number. Now, all businesses will need an EORI number, which starts with GB. If your delivery terms are delivered to duty paid, you will also need a EU EORI number. Now, we'll talk about INCO terms later, because this is not recommended. I had a customer yesterday saying to me she was going to do all of her exports to Europe DDP because it made a better customer experience. When we discussed her recovering VAT in all these different countries, she changed her view. So if you're VAT registered, you will already be auto-enrolled for an EORI number starting GB. And if you were trading with Europe, you would have been advised of that. If you are VAT registered but hadn't been trading with Europe, you'll still have an EORI number, but probably no one's told you. So you can go into the link at the bottom there, and it will tell you you should be able to find your EORI number. If you're not VAT registered, you can also apply for an EORI number at that same link. And we note there that UK mainland trading with Northern Ireland, you will also need an EORI number, but prefixed XI. And this is because of the rules around trading between Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland, there being a frictionless border there. It's registered to go into the Northern Ireland, and then that's fine, but you still need to have a separate NI EORI number, and again you'll have to ask for that, apply for that. Trevor.
Yep. So in terms of excise duty, there's much more restrictions on this, much more compliance. So all goods would move by the EMCS system, Excise Movement and Control System, duty suspension. I think the most important part here is if you're exporting anything that's under excise, is whoever your nominated carrier is or freight forwarder, is ensure that on the EU side they have the infrastructure, their partners have the infrastructure to handle excise goods under the EMCS system. again, it's not just a question now of just picking up things and just moving them. It has to be very, very, as I said to you, due diligence, thought out. How are you going to move it? If you've got a buyer, depending on the terms, who's paying for the freight, how does that work? So we're starting to move goods via this slowly but surely, and it's one of them ones I think it will build again, but it's going to take time because, you know, there was enough complications, as it were, just for normal freight, let alone excise duty. But actually, when you look at the system, it hasn't really changed. Yeah, I think on this is just take your time doing a lot of research, talking to your forwarder, and look at who is set up for it rather than what, you know, the cheapest price, essentially, because you will get stuck if it's not done properly.
Yeah, that's really an important message. I think there is a lot of demand out there at the moment, and you know, a lot of the freight forwarders are under a lot of stress and pressure because obviously there's a lot of demand coming all of a sudden. Yeah, do some due diligence on who you're going to be using if you're not already using someone.
Republic of Ireland, I mean, really, there's probably not much to say apart from the Republic of Ireland is part of the EU, as we know, and there are no easements or anything dealing with the Republic of Ireland from the UK. So if you're exporting to the Republic of Ireland, they will need to pay import VAT on the goods arriving. You'll need customs agents in there, they'll need an ORI number, and, you know, back to my example of rest of the world goods coming into the UK and shipping to the Republic of Ireland, they will be dutiable. And in fact, our experience is Republic of Ireland, they were very tough from day one. Their customs are actually quite, they're looking for compliance completely, and we're seeing that with our partners over there as well. But yeah, just in case there was some kind of myth out there that the Republic of Ireland was any different, you know, whether you're shipping to Portugal, Spain or Italy, you handle it in exactly the same way as if you're exporting to the Republic of Ireland. So Northern Ireland is obviously slightly different. So our friend Mr. Govt introduced the TSS Trader Support System, which was going to be the panacea and solve all the border in the sea, which obviously it didn't. There was a lot of conversation just before Christmas saying that as your customers, the importer of record, has to sign up to TSS. But majority of people haven't, purely on the basis they don't want to get involved in import declarations. So anything going from UK to NI will require a safety and security declaration, which your haulier will deal with as a matter of course, but also an import declaration. So if I look at the work that we do daily to Northern Ireland, so we are doing them declarations on behalf of our customers. So essentially, our customers are selling DAP cleared, which we'll go through Incoterms later, but that means that we're doing the import declaration on behalf of the shipper, and that means the importer of record doesn't need to be involved in it. Just to be clear, import declarations are required for anything from UK to Northern Ireland. Coming the other way, no issues at all. There's no export declarations, no import declarations from NI to UK. So that carries on trading as if it were pre-31st of December. And again, obviously, agri-food products, different kind of phytosanitary rules are applying. And so just be aware of the commodities that you're shipping.
So that's exports. We'll have a quick look at imports as well. So Trevor, do you want to just take us through the initial implementation model that was, again, aspirational, I think. So yeah, tell us exactly where we are really now. So
yeah, so from 1st of January on imports, the UK are not really doing any border checks. They've not changed any way of working compared to where they were previously. Obviously, we have to do import declarations, which we'll cover off in a moment. So we have to do that. You have to, on imports, the hauliers have to complete the GVMS system. They will be putting more checks in as of 1st of April, which cover the sort of animal products, fish and fishery, high-risk food, plants and plants products. And then the 1st of July, the full borders go up, the easements go. So, for example, there was a lot of people talking about simplified procedures, EIDR, which again was the panacea, you know, fantastic, but that was only for 6 months. And all you're doing is delaying that declaration for 6 months. So that works for some people, for others it's not the way going forward. It's going to be interesting on the 1st of July, that's all I can say, because I'm not sure of the infrastructures. The EU, to be fair, they stuck to their word, they put the borders up from day one, and that pushed us very quickly to ensure we got the right compliance on the exports. A lot of forwarders got their truck stuck for the first couple of weeks, but soon worked out how to get around that with the EU. And I think it'll be the same in reverse. There'll be lots of trucks stuck for the first 2 or 3 weeks after the 1st of July. But then the EU side will have to realise what the UK customs are actually requiring to get them goods and them trucks through. Importing, so export customs declaration will be required, exactly the same as in reverse. So we just got to, for me, I always say, exports, imports, it's just the process in reverse. Just make sure the contract terms who's responsible for doing that. On arrival at UK customs, a declaration is required. So again, it's a question of, is that going to be done at the border, or is it going to be done in a bonded warehouse? So it's an ETSF, which essentially what we run, which is a customs approved warehouse. So that just in simple terms, that's an extension of the border. So the trucks can come all the way through, devan at our warehouse, and then they sit there in the customs approved until the import declarations are done and we've got the approval for customs to release them into free circulation. Always think about whoever you're appointing, it's not just about the freight cost, it's about, right, okay, what is the process they're going to be moving? Are they going to be doing clearances at the border? Are they going to be doing it in their own bonded warehouse? I think these are the things that are really important when looking at imports. Import duty and VAT will be collected. Import VAT, PVA is in place at the moment, postponed VAT accounting. So just an entry into record. To be fair, very, very good move. That has really helped keep the imports flowing. They did say it was for 6 months. We haven't seen anything else on this at the moment, but if they had any common sense, the government, they would keep the postponed VAT accounting for good, because that prevents any snarl up of freight in warehouses, which ultimately will affect the end consumer and products on the shelves, because we're a net importer. And also as well, deferment accounts. So again, if your goods are not of EU origin and you're importing, potentially is duty to be paid. So and again, I don't know if Mike's got the link, but from a deferment account, you used to have to put a guarantee up, but I believe they've put in a simplified method now. Don't quote me. I believe it's around £10,000 maximum. But I think if you've got a good trading history on Companies House, you've got good finances, they can actually put that in place very quickly for you to give you that little bit of buffer. And that allows us, companies like us, again, you nominate us to put that entry onto your deferment. We use PVA. Thank you very much. Goods cleared, onward delivery, and they don't get held up. Yeah, so it's Common Transit Convention, CTS, it says main means traders can complete certain customs process away from borders. So it's what I touched on previously, what's called an ETSF, which is an external temporary storage facility. And that's what our warehouses are in Essex and in Stoke. And that just prevents any delays at the border. And all our goods are moved from depot, imports, exports on what's called a transit accompanying document, a TAD. So what that allows you to do, it allows you to cross borders without checks. So what we have to do is, there obviously has to be a registration on GVMS of that truck coming into the UK. So they essentially know, there's all the export declarations from the EU, there's the truck number, the two associated, so they know what's on that truck. But then that truck, based on the transit document, that will come through to our warehouse. We unload it, and then it's in customs regime in our warehouse until such time the import declarations are completed. And this is why when we talk about deferment accounts, PVA, if none of that's in place with a customer, them goods will sit in our warehouse until such time that's all correct, so we can do the import declaration correct. So yeah, that's how we work. On full loads, a lot of people are not, you don't need to do a TAD on full loads, because you can do it if it's a full load destined just for your business. You can do a declaration at the border. That would actually makes it much easier, because the transit documents, we have to put guarantees up, and there's a system called the NCTS system, which is an EU-based system, which is basically about the liabilities of the tax and the VAT. So if they're not discharged correctly, then us as a company issuing these transit documents are liable for that tax and VAT. So you've got to understand now, in this regime with forwarders, this is why forwarders are being very you might say harsh or black and white, but the liabilities now that sit with us and intermediaries are massive. So this is why we're telling everyone to, to follow the procedure that we're asking.